Rap News, Street Politics, best hood channel on YouTube. And we finally here to give y'all the most deadly gangs in the San Fernando Valley, the whole 818. Now, you know, we took a little bit of time off at the end of 2024, and that's because we spent a lot of time in the 818, spinning through every active hood and making sure we for sure can give y'all the most deadly and dangerous gangs in the 818. Now, for y'all that don't know where the San Fernando Valley is, it's everything north of the 101, north of LA. It's multiple ways you can get up here. You can take the 10, the 110, the 60, and the 5. And again, the 101 coming from downtown, and you'll find yourself in the San Fernando Valley. Now, up here, we got a lot of different sets and cities that make up the 818. We got San Fernando, Pacoima, Sun Valley, North Hollywood, Van Nuys, Panorama City, Reseda, Canoga Park. The list goes on, man. But one notable thing, it is extremely active and popping in the Valley, man. And the Valley may be familiar to some of y'all due to the infamous North Hollywood bank robbery. Some may call it the North Hollywood shootout, where two men walked into Bank of America in North Hollywood and ended up getting into a shootout that cost them their lives. But in the process, they also hit 12 police officers and 8 civilians in this NoHo area. I know sometimes people get the misconception of what the Valley really is, but when you get out here, man, you see it's a lot of sets that's really putting it down, and it's a lot of sets that have migrated from the inner city of LA that have some dominant cliques that's really controlling some areas and putting it down in the 818. And we gotta say thank you to all our fans, man. Everybody that's been watching our videos, tuning in, helping us get to that milestone of 100K. We almost there, man. We gotta give a shout out to all the members, new and old. Everybody that's took the time out to click that button on our channel, man, and really show some love and support. We gotta give y'all a shout out. And we're gonna be providing more exclusive content and engagement to the members as well. So y'all look forward to that. But before we get cracking, have y'all ever watched our videos and wondered how we get some of these guys' real names, addresses, locations, and really just personal information on some of the people that we speak on in our videos? Sometimes it's really just an easy search of Google. And that's why we gotta present to y'all our first sponsor on the channel. We got Aura, an all-inclusive identity protection platform with multi-credit bureau monitoring and VPN capabilities as well. With Aura, you can monitor your personal data, including your social security number, across billions of data points across the likes of Google and the dark web. You can also monitor public court records, and Aura can also alert you when somebody's trying to open up that credit card or that personal loan in your name, you know what I'm saying? And even if you missed them notifications about that new credit card that got opened up in your name, every adult that has Aura gets up to $1 million in identity theft insurance that covers eligible losses and fees. You can also opt out of all data broker sites, which will help you remove your personal information so somebody like our channel won't have your name and location in the video on YouTube for 100,000 people to see. And if you just want to be anonymous and search the web from the comfort of your home without being tracked, they also got the VPN service for safe browsing. Now, because we Rap News, Street Politics, we got our own link, aura.com/RNSP. You get a free 14-day trial to try out all the services that they're offering with this platform. But remember, you gotta click the link below in the description box on this video to make sure you lock in that 14-day free trial. But with that being said, man, we gotta hit y'all with over 30 hoods in the 818. We gonna split it up in 3 different videos, but look, we gonna hit y'all back to back with all 3 of them. In this video, we start with North Hollywood, Van Nuys, and Sun Valley. Let's get right into it with the first hood on the list. What some people say is the first hood to set up shop in North Hollywood. We got Westside Clontone 14, that North Hollywood click, the 4th hood.
Turn your soul to a stain, plus I got a lot of aim. When you hear them shots bang, off the 14th Street gang. HPG, we lit away, I'm taking out all these lanes, rearranging the game. Get used to my face, I'm here to stay. One thing you don't know about me, about me, about me, about me, about me, about me. I'm a motherfucking CXIV.
Now, why I say the 4th hood is because Clontone has multiple sets throughout the section. We know their first section was in that Pico Union area, where these dudes started off early in the 1900s, like the 1920s. Now, even though that's the first hood in the Pico Union area, that hood is really not going to be active anymore, mainly due to the construction of the 110 freeway. They do still got some OGs around from that section, but they got 3 other active hoods. 2 of them we already spoke on in past videos. They got that low bottom set where Bugsy is from. And they got that East Hollywood set right by the MS-13s. But this is their fourth hood. This is the fourth one to be established. And trust me, this is one of their most active sets, beefing with a lot of enemigos over here, man. And they also got size. So as soon as you hit North Hollywood, these dudes gonna stretch from Burbank all the way to Van Nuys. And they're gonna be in between Violent Avenue and Clybourne. But if you ever been in this area, some of their most active streets is gonna be off Whitnall and Cartwright and Whitnall and Denny. They also be at that Circus Liquor on the corner of Violent and Burbank. Now, some things that we don't usually see with Hispanic hoods is a lot of these sets being allied together. Clientone 14 is gonna be tight-knit with a hood that's just across Violent from them, the North Hollywood boys. And again, just because I say Clientone 14, to some of y'all that's kind of new to the channel, the 14 does not mean it's a Norteño set. These dudes are still Sureños. The 14 just stands for the street that they started on. And again, the back history of these guys, this is the hood that 18th Street was originally formed off of when Clientone didn't want to sanction in their own version of 18th Street. 18th Street became their own set, and that's a long time rivalry with Clientone and 18th Street that goes all the way to this 818 San Fernando Valley area.
All right, what's up, baby? Come on, nigga. Come on. Come outside, nigga. Come on. Come outside. Come on, nigga. Come outside, you fucking smacky.
Now, this hood in North Hollywood started about 1975, and it said that two brothers from the second hood of Clientone, Big Cuate and Ricky, were the founders of this North Hollywood set. And a few cliques that exist over here is Tiny Locos, Tierra Street Locos, and Crazy Alley Gangsters. But like I said, this for sure was the first LA hood to exist in North Hollywood, a gang that came from the inner city of LA and now occupies the 818. Now, with this being one of their larger, most active hoods, this area is also not really gentrified. So what we see here is a lot of beef that they got going on. Beefing with hoods like 18th Street, like I said, who has multiple different sets in the valley that we gonna speak on. But they do have a hood in North Hollywood that Clientone is beefing with. Also beefing with the Violent boys that's just across Violent from them, north of Victory Boulevard. And they beefing with the North Hollywood Locos, an extremely active hood that used to have a section near Clientone across Burbank Boulevard, the Cleon Street clique. But we gonna get into North Hollywood Locos and where they really active at. But right now, Clientone is controlling this whole area between Burbank and Van Nuys Street. A lot of territory. Some other hoods that they also beef with, Barrio Van Nuys, which is a large old school set in Van Nuys. Pico Nuevo, which is another hood that's out here from another area in Pico Rivera. They beefing with the Playboys. Now the Playboys, they do make a little bit of presence known in the valley. The PBSs out here are not like East Side or West Side or even South Side PBS that we see in the city. They're not gonna have enough presence. The thing is, a lot of hoods like Clientone have came out here from LA and dudes try to set up shop. It's a few hoods out here that have tried to set up shop, and they see other hoods from LA have stronghold cliques out here and they try to do the same. But it's so much competition in the valley that some of them just don't last or get a chance to bubble up. And I would say PBS is one of them ones that came from LA that doesn't have a stronghold like Clientone, 18th Street, and MS-13. But Clientone is also beefing with Westside Avenue Gangsta Crips. We got some Gangsta Crips in the valley that we touching on as well. And they beefing with a hood that share some of Westside territory, the Alley Locos as well. So nonetheless, man, like I'm saying, Clientone is an extremely active set. Nothing to play with in LA, East Hollywood, or North Hollywood. Now, the next hood we're gonna speak on has really kind of been dubbed one of the most reckless hoods in the valley. And honestly, out of the over 30 most active hoods out here, they for sure in the top 5 of controlling the most territory in the 818. We got Sun Valley Violent Boys to that set.
Bitch, if you ain't tryna make no money, don't even hit my line. Cause I ain't tryna be your hubby, bitch, I'm tryna get mine. I call the little homies to get ready, we gon' go slide. But not on the ops, I'm tryna go smash and grab and take mine. Cause I want 100 bands, nigga, so this shit gon' take time. But fuck it, I gotta hustle, my nigga, till I fucking die. Ain't lying.
Now, the Violent Boys have set up shop in really 2 different areas that's not too far from each other. They're in North Hollywood, and they pretty much control, I'm gonna say 90% of Sun Valley. Now, it's said that these dudes is really a combination of 3 different sets that used to occupy this area. The Violent Boys, which claimed North Hollywood, Soul Trece and Soul Valley, and another set called the Village Boys. Now, with those 3 combined, they formed Sun Valley Violent Boys. who used to go by VLB instead of VBS. Now, it's also said that some of their founding members had ties to 18th Street, a dude named Teddy Green Eyes Lopez. And, due to them having ties with 18 previously to starting Violent Boys, when everything jumped off with VBS, this led to them automatically beefing with 18th Street. Now, a lot of their members was real young at the time and said that they was breaking a lot of MA rules and ended up falling under a green light from the Mexican Mafia. Now, their formation alone set off two things. Like I said, number one, they beef with 18th Street and they beef with the Pacoima Hoods, who also have an extremely deadly reputation. But it said that when VBS got the green light from the Mexican Mafia, Green Eyes had ran into some members from Pacoima, got into it with them dudes, and they recognized that he was up for a hit. And they ended up whacking Green Eyes because his hood was on that list. You know what I'm saying? So this is what started two major beefs with the VBS and also what turned them into the monster that they are today. Because after that happened, all they wanted to do was seemingly get into the good graces and get off that hit list. So they turned extremely deadly, started putting in work and made sure they was falling in line with the program the right way. You know what I'm saying? And this is what led them to have the reputation that they have today. Now, some real active areas that they have. Number one is the Clump Apartments between Van Noyen and Victory Boulevard and Violent Avenue and Tahunga Avenue. The Clump Apartments is gonna be off Elmer and Kid Ridge. This area is extremely popping, man. I will tell you, this is the no-go zone. The Yucca Market hangout on Elmer and Van Noyen, the City Market on Clump and Van Noyen. This area is extremely active and these apartments are notorious for VBS activity. And these apartments have also been home to one of their cliques called 129 Clumptown Project Boys. And really it is low-key a project. It's not enclosed like a project, but when you go down the alleyways and the main streets, it's pretty much a project over here for VBS. And like I said, they tucked in between their enemies right here, being Pico Nuevo, Clanton, and the North Hollywood boys in this area. Now they also around Stagg and Morella in Sun Valley, Peoria Street, D's Liquor on Lancashire and Satakoy, the Lakeview Terrace Rec Center, and the Riverton Apartments. Man, like I'm saying, these dudes got an extremely large hood in this section. Now, some of the cliques that they have, which make these dudes one of the largest hoods in terms of membership, are going to be the Pequeños, the Dukes, the Rascals, Jokerstown, like I said, the Project Boys. And that 129 Clump Street clique in North Hollywood used to be a tagging crew known as 129 OTN before they was absorbed into the Violent Boys Trece gang. Now, in their aggression and their recklessness, we've seen a lot of people get dropped over here. And we even seen them kill a Burbank police officer and wound and paralyze his partner. A member from this set named Ramon Aranda was also killed during this shootout with the folks, man. Like I said, these dudes are known to get real reckless when it comes to their gangbanging, man. And Ramon's Crime Me went down for them homicides. But the key thing that stands out is there was no cooperation from the Violent Boys, as well as no cooperation from the family of them dudes that was doing the work, which led to a lot of them VBS members' families going down on charges for interfering, obstructing, harboring, and aiding and abetting a fugitive in this murder case. But another thing that's said about VBS is the ties that they had with Armenian Power. And we spoke on Armenian Power a couple times on this channel when we mentioned that snitch G-Face, who was claiming to be from East Hollywood White Fence. But VBS was really tapped in with membership from Armenian Power, which is why they gained a reputation and specializing in the distribution of some large-scale operations with a few substances that's popular right now. And they've also been known to be involved in some heavy artillery gunplay and trafficking as well, due to their ties with the Armenian Power 13 gang. Now, more recently, we did see two people that got popped over here in the Cove Apartments off Arminta Street, and some other extremely active areas that these dudes gonna be around is Leadwell and Ensign Street, and all down Violent, especially by Sherman Way, which is where they beef with 18th Street really gets cracking. And some we also seen transpire from one of their more popular members, a rapper out of their set named Rich Rad. He had made some comments on Blueface in the LA County Jail, saying Blueface was crying in his cell, didn't want to come out the program, didn't want to shower, and was overall not functioning inside the county.
All stressed the fuck out, crying on the phone and all that weird ass shit, but I mean, it's first time Buddy been in jail, so you feel me, like all that schoolyard shit out to pump him up, like, hey bro, you can't be letting motherfuckers get at you like that on the tier, like the blood's getting at you sideways, like you better not say, you better stand up for your rep, you feel me, you crippin', so.
Now the thing is, with Rich Rad being from VBS, Like we spoke on, they gon' for sure be beefing with Pacoima Piru. Blueface is the artist of Whack 100, who's from Pacoima Piru, so we don't know if them statements can be taken with a grain of salt, if it's just automatic beef with Rich Rad and Blueface because of the Whack 100 connection, or if all that is 100% factual and he really did see Blueface not programming properly in the county. But we also seen Rich Rad with some other Sureños around the city like Swifty Blue, Mr. Keep It Hood, and oddly enough, we seen him with Pesciano from Pacoima Piru Bloods. So it could be that the Violent Boys in Pacoima Piru have set their beef aside in recent times. I can't say based on this dude doing records with Pesciano. Now, Pesciano was a member that said to have some smut on his name, but again, paperwork hasn't been proven on him either. But overall, Sun Valley Violent Boys is going to be an extremely high-power set in the 818 San Fernando Valley, and their section is not one to be played with. Now, the next hood we got on the list has 3 extremely popping hoods in the San Fernando Valley. This is a set that got over 20 hoods in LA County alone. You know, we got Barrio 18th Street.
I'm back in the street, you gotta watch on what you're wearing. My little nigga knock it down, nigga just staring. Cut it all around so you can see the set I'm rapping. Y'all can catch me in the section, y'all can catch me with the weapon. Y'all ain't stepping how I'm stepping. Me and my nigga big as wolf. We gon' walk up and we shoot. See them catch a nigga, yeah, my nigga knowing I'm the truth. Only spilling out the real when I'm hanging in the booth.
Now, they technically got 4 different sections in the valley, with the 4th one being in Reseda. But when we get to Reseda, we're going to show y'all why we're not going to include them in this video. But the sets that is active, we got North Hollywood, main clique going to be Friar Locos. We got another North Side, Barrio 18th Street in Sun Valley. The main clique's going to be Mid-Valley Gangsters and Cyclones. And we got another clique in the North Side, the Del Monte Gangsters, which is a break off from the Hollywood Gangsters clique in East Hollywood. That's in Van Nuys, man, in a really active area over there in Van Nuys. But we gonna start in this North Hollywood section off Friar Street with them Friar Locos. This is also gonna be the section where that North Hollywood bank robbery went down, right on Laurel Canyon and Kit Ridge, which is the divider between this 18th Street North Hollywood set, Radford Street, and the North Hollywood Boys. This is the original North Side 18th Street hood, and they mostly in the buildings off of Lancashire Boulevard, but they gonna also be, like I said, on Friar Street. Now, y'all know wherever 18th Street go, they set up shop and they get cracking early too. It was said that these 818 sets came out in the 80s, and in the 90s, they really doubled up in membership due to 18th Street soaking up some of the cliques that was out here, and they really started expanding and making their presence felt and forming some reputable cliques in the San Fernando Valley. Now, this North Hollywood clique does have a big section. It's kind of awkward how things are placed, but they all down Victory Boulevard. That's probably gonna be like the middle of their hood. But we can honestly say these dudes really go from Oxnard Street all the way up to Kit Ridge. And they gonna stretch from Laurel Canyon to Tujunga Avenue as well, where they border their enemies' hoods in Pico Nuevo, North Hollywood Boys, and the Violent Boys. Now, the thing is, this is not far from Clontone 14 like we showed y'all. And with Clontone and the North Hollywood Boys being tight-knit over here, you can tell 18th Street got their hands full of being surrounded by their enemies, which is not unusual for a hood like this. Now, when they set up shop in the valley, like I said, these dudes got over 20 cliques, and they work hard at making them areas look like where 18th Street started in that Pico Union area, which is what they did in the San Fernando Valley. They got cracking and made Van Nuys and North Hollywood look like Pico Union. And if y'all don't know what Pico Union look like, go check out our Pico Union video so y'all can get another glimpse and see how it's really cracking out there by that downtown low bottom area. Now, this clique right here is also gonna be the clique that's beefing with Radford Street and CMK over here. They used to go at it heavy with a set called Hart Street, but we're gonna touch on them a little later. But this North Hollywood clique has been active since it came to fruition. Now, the Van Nuys clique, the Del Monte Gangsters clique, is kind of said to have a smaller area, but it does still operate in some areas that have hoods that are kind of dying out in the valley. But mainly they operate between Kester and Van Nuys Boulevard, going east to west, and then north to south, they operate from Valerio Street down to Sherman Way, which is gonna be bordering another one of their enemies in Barrio Van Nuys, right across Sherman Way. Now, this Van Nuys clique right here is really gonna have their hands in a lot of beef, man. And all these 18th Street cliques share the same enemies in this San Fernando Valley. And they pretty much, all the sets gonna share the same enemies, period, in the city. But this street right here is beefing with Blythe Street. And now Blythe Street is in Panorama City, just north of these guys. We're gonna put Panorama City in the next video. Again, all this stuff is coming back to back, so y'all not gonna have to wait too long, man. But we're gonna touch on Blight Street and Panorama City. But not only are they beefing with them over here, that, like I said, they beefing with Barrio Van Nuys. They beefing with also some lesser active hoods out here in terms of Valerio Street and Van Noen Street locos. They also beefing with Tijuana locos, another hood that's just north of them, who's also kind of died down. But a narrative that we see throughout the city, they beefing with the Liquor Street Bloods just north of them. That's in Panorama City, north of Blight Street. We're gonna get to them as well. But as you know, 18th Street has been known to press a heavy line against the Bloods due to them Smiley Drive gangsters and other cliques that was in South Central beefing with BPS that turned into them beefing with the 20s, the Brims, and just other sets in that area. So they also beefing with the Liquor Streets out here. But some dudes that they beef with everywhere that seem to follow them wherever they go, MS-13 is around the corner from these guys, just down Sherman Way as well. So this Van Nuys set and this North Hollywood set got their hands full with beef in this section. Now the third set over here is gonna be in Sun Valley, where they mainly gonna be beefing with Violent Boys, but they do also beef just south of them with Radford Street and CMK, Crazy Mexican Clan. But these dudes really gonna be deep on Lakersham and Valerie, and they gonna be in them Simpson Arbor apartments as well. But this is the area, like I said, they really beefing and getting active with VBS. This they Mid-Valley Gangsters and Cyclones clique over here. And this area west of Lancashire used to be claimed by a hood called Boys from the Hood 13. The same Boys from the Hood 13 that we spoke on in that Drex the Joint video that's in Anaheim. A very active set over there in Orange County, but 18th Street controls this area now, especially west of Lancashire. Now overall, they're gonna go from Laurel Canyon to Tujunga Avenue over here as well, east and west, and north and south they between Satakoy and Sherman Way. But Lancashire is gonna be in the middle of their hood. And again, these dudes are gonna share the same enemies as the other two 18th Street sets in the city. And you know, wherever Barrio 18 go, man, they putting it down. Now the next hood we're gonna touch on is a major set that's been in the Valley also since the 80s, man. This set is gonna be a part of a 3-pack collective, and what's called the 3-pack, Westside Avenue Gangsta Crib.
Use is what my niggas seeing for. It's 6'5" and I ain't never been on Menlo. I'm a Valley nigga out the no-ho to be exact. The 818's most hated, that's a known fact. But so what, I'm from the Wisher nigga woods. No car crash, but still doing damage to your hood. Until my enemies win.
Now the 3-pack is gonna consist of Witset, OVG, Original Valley Gangsta Crip, and Dead End Gangsta Crip. And really the 3 remaining Crip hoods that's in the Valley. Now, an interesting fact, man, contrary to popular belief, there's been no real neighborhood Crip establishments in the Valley. We know a lot of talk is about First Street, but they never got to set their shit up like they wanted to, like they did in the Aliso Village in East LA. I'ma just keep it real with that. They never got to set it up the way they wanted to. But we gotta shout out Big Quan, KK from Westside Avenue. We seen him in all kind of shit. You seen him in Rodney video. You seen him with the Postman from Compton. Big Quam is somebody that's really representing this set and has brought the Gangsta Crippin' together in the Valley.
Quam from Wishing Ave, 3 up top, you already know.
Y'all should know this BK Deuce. It's the 3-pack.
Westside Daddy Gangsta Crib, yeah. 516786, nigga.
Now these dudes really be politicking off Oxnard and Witset. That Dale's Junior Liquor used to be a big hangout spot for them. Oxnard Plaza, Grand Villa Apartments. This is where these dudes be at in this section.
We here with BK Deuce from Westside Avenue, kid. Grimy, Westside Avenue Gangsta Crib, 5900 block. You feel me?
I know the truth. Measy, Westside Avenue Gangsta Crib, moving.
And this was visiting?
So we at Valley Park Apartment, man. We on the poor side. Posted.
Set, Westside Avenue, we in the set, the Hood Park.
Ain't know the truth.
Now, a lot of their members used to stay in them Woodman apartments off Woodman and Oxnard, so this is how these dudes started to really become a collective around this area. Now, initially, they started off as Witset Gangsters, like a Black Rag set, Black Rag Gangsters, and eventually joined that gangster car in 1992 in Wasco, which was led by their homie Lil Snoop. Now, this turned into some gangster crippin' is what led to their neighborhood crippin' Rolling Hunted beef throughout the rest of the city of LA. And really anybody that's pushing the neighborhood Crip line, whether they run into them in the Valley or in LA. Now, a lot of them didn't used to push the 3 at the beginning, but as time went on, they began to really embrace that Gangsta Crip Trey Time movement. You know what I'm saying? Now, as you can imagine, there isn't a grip of black hoods in the Valley. Like I said, there's 3 Gangsta Crip sets, a couple Blood sets. And when I say a couple, I really mean about 2. We got Liggett Street and PPB, Pacoima Piru Bloods, who we gonna touch on as well. Witset, OVG, and Dead End beef with both of them blood hoods in the Valley. Now, what kicked off the beef between them and the PPBs was when the PPBs had killed a member from Witset by the name of Lil Blue in 2001. And really, it's been cracking since then. They also got beef with Barrio Van Nuys, MS-13, Radford Street, really the other Hispanic gangs that surround them other than one, the Alley Locos, which they really been cool with. Not allied with, as some may think, but they've been cool with, but we're gonna speak on Alley Locos as well. But they pretty much surrounded by their enemies. Now, they hood is occupying a large area too, really stretching all the way from Burbank Boulevard up to Sherman Way. They can operate this whole area between Coldwater Canyon and that 170 freeway, man. So they got a lot of territory in this section, and they be putting it down. Like I said, they've been here since the late 80s, putting it down in this section. And other things people may have spoke about was the Bloodstone Villains being in the Valley. The Bloodstone Villains was said to have occupied the area really underneath Clanton, down Violent around Magnolia. There's really not enough territory to even operate right there. I'm gonna keep it real with you. But it was said that they had a Magnolia side clique where they hung around the Lancashire and the old apartment buildings, but that stuff is heavily gentrified now, and the Villains is not gonna be active in the Valley, mostly gonna be active in that low bottom area in South Central.
If Crips get together, it's terrible. Niggas just ain't no unity with the homies, with no Crips, nigga. Only like gangs, neighborhoods, everything all broke up. Who's gonna be Crips no more? That one of the deepest Crips shit there. You know what I'm saying? Y'all content wise, you know what I'm saying? They still there, but it's like, what are they gonna do, man?
Now, even though these dudes is pushing Witset to the end, which means that they rocking with everything from Witset all the way to Dead End Gangsters, which is the 3-pack, OVG, Witset, and Dead End Gangsta Crip, these dudes didn't always used to get along. Now, Witset and OVG had an agreement that was pretty much broke in a situation where they wasn't supposed to be turning their homies onto each other's hoods. Like, if a dude from Witset ran into some dudes from OVG, the OVG dudes wouldn't try to turn the homies into their hood and vice versa. That agreement was broke, and that's what kind of led to their beef, so to speak, and how they wasn't seeing eye to eye as 2 Gangsta Crip sets in the Valley. And with Witset and Dead End, it was more like a flex thing where both them hoods would run into each other, flex on each other, and that'd end up in some squabbling. And that's how them 2 hoods kind of fell out. But in 2023, members like Quam and some more reputable members from each one of these Gangsta Crip hoods have sat down, really brought it together. And that's how they formed the 3-pack, which is a seemingly strong alliance right now in the city, man. It's what you see. These dudes is always together and they tight knit. Now, the 3-pack is also gonna have some alliances to other hoods in the city, man, like the 8-7s, the 7 Trays, the Marvins, the 4 Trays, and oddly enough, hoods in Compton, Santana Block. They also gonna rock with Altadena Block and even Carver Park. You know, these dudes have some good relations, especially when you sitting down and you running into homies and shit like that. They form some nice relationships throughout the southern part of the city, not just the Valley as well. But they main cliques are gonna be 5900, 6500, 7100 clique is still claimed, to a lesser extent though. Now, even though racial tension and gang wars didn't really escalate like it did in other parts of the city, we do still see a disproportionate size of Hispanic gang beef with the Witsets, with them, like I said, beefing with Barrio Van Nuys, Radford Street, North Hollywood Boys, and North Hollywood Locos, and Clanton is even gonna be considered somewhat of rivals for them as well. But mostly it's gonna be Barrio Van Nuys and Radford Street. Them 2 hoods are gonna be right next to Witset Avenue. Now, y'all also may know a rapper named Big Payback that was coming out the Valley. Big Payback was also from Witset Avenue Gangsters. Now, he was killed in a shootout, man, and this kind of led to a falling out, an internal falling out between the 5900 and 6500 members of Witset Avenue Gangsta Crip. Now, Big Payback was somebody that really pushed some gangsta cripping in the music, especially in the music industry that's predominantly ran and represented by neighborhood Crips. Big Payback was somebody who was pushing the Gangsters Got Next movement, and sadly, he lost his life over here, man. And like I previously spoke on the north side, Alley Locos, to that said, Alley Locos is gonna be a hood that's also outside the Valley as well, but again, they occupy some of this territory that Witset is gonna occupy as well. but one of their main streets is gonna be Barber Ann Street. But they really kind of go from Sherman Way to Victory Boulevard. But I gotta hit that with a grain of salt because that's a hood that's low-key not showing out numbers lately, man. I can't say they on this most active or most deadliest gang list right now. Their numbers are kind of dwindling. You're not really seeing the alley locals like you used to. But somebody that you do see and that you may know is Diablo from Alley Locos, Mr. D, 12700, man. It's a rapper coming out of Alley Locos. And again, they have good relations with the West Side Avenues. But we're gonna have to say, you know, there is a set out here that also is from LA, man. Well, the Lenox area, Lenox Tessa is gonna be out here. It was said that Mr. D has some hood hopping allegations with being originally named Menace from the Gangsters Clique of Lenox 13, not too far from this Alley Loco and West Side Avenue section down Van Noyen. He denied those claims when he was sitting in front of Lucky on Hoodstocks, but that's somebody who's still trying to keep the Alley Loco's name alive, man. So that's just what it is with this section. But the next set we got to touch on is right across the 170 Hollywood Freeway, right across from this West Side Avenue gangster territory. We got Southside Radford Street to that second. Now, before we get to Radford Street, we got to shout out MODENT. Y'all make sure y'all go tap in with his channel. Dude from Radford Street, man, he be telling some dope stories and really be putting it down and sharing information and history about his hood on YouTube. Y'all go make sure y'all check him out. But Radford Street is going to be a hood that was started in the 80s. And man, let me tell you, it's cracking in this section. They got a lot going on Hart Street. I'm going to just keep it real. A lot going on Gentry, Ben, and Agnes right up on Hart Street between them, CMK, 18th Street, and MS13. Now, the thing is, Radford Street used to be cool with 18th Street. It was a set over here called Hart Street. And Hart Street is going to be in the middle of their hood. Their hood is going from Kit Ridge all the way up to Sherman Way between the 170, and the divider is going to be Radford Street. But Hart Street was an older set that was around here that was existing before Radford Street really jumped off the porch. Radford Street was kind of like in the middle of a situation between 18th Street and Hart Street, where they was cool with 18, but they had family from Hart Street and just had closer ties to Hart Street. And with Hart Street beefing with 18, when Hart Street started to die down and Radford Street started to really pick up, they basically inherited the beef with 18th Street, along with Radford Street getting along with the Violent Boys as well. It's like they was pretty much cool with all the 18th Street enemigos at the time. So it was only right for them to start beefing with 18th Street as well, which turned out to be a very deadly war, man. Like I said, it's very active in this Radford Street section. And when we was over here, we did have some words with some Radford Street dudes that ended respectfully though, you know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy, but I'ma just say these dudes was patrolling their area and looking to do their shit in their section. I'ma just say that for real. Now, they did used to control more area, but some of that area has kind of been impeded on with hoods like 18th Street, Pico Nuevo, and CMK. Like I said, Radford Street is the divider between they hood and CMK. And we're gonna touch on CMK, but I'm gonna say right now, that's probably one of their main enemies on Hart Street is Crazy Mexican Clan. Now, they also gonna be very active on Radford and DeHole Street and Gentry and Van Noyen. And again, Van Noyen is a street that run through their hood, but Van Noyen may be one of the deadliest streets in the city. I'm gonna just say that. We're gonna touch on why that is as well. Now, these dudes is known to wear Colorado Rockies gear for that RST. And they used to be cool with CMK, man. That's the crazy part. They used to be cool with Crazy Mexican Clan with some of their older homies. But it said that the new generation, like the young dudes that we seen in Roddy and LA video, them young dudes have kind of lost some of their history that the older homies may have tried to set forth. And with that, they lost their cool with a hood that they kind of share their hood with, which is Radford Street. And that's kind of what led to the beef. And it's been a cracking and ongoing beef, especially when you got young dudes like we seen with CMK just looking to get their name out there. That's always when it's most deadly. Now, the crazy thing is they've known to be cool with Blythe Street. Like I said, they was cool with the Violent Boys, and they've also been known to be cool with the North Hollywood Locos, who are just down Van Noyen from them as well. Now, even though they don't have the biggest hood over here, they're not known to be clicking up with these hoods just because they cool with them. They want to be known for holding their own in their section and tending to their own beef and handling their own issues, if you know what I'm saying. But nonetheless, they got the Winos clique over here, Avenues clique, Tiny Maniacs are the most craziest clique. Now, TMK is like a newer clique. They were a clique in the area before they became a part of Radford Street. They was putting it down and ended up getting soaked into the Winos clique of Radford Street and ended up still making a name for themselves. And now Radford Street has now made them their own clique of the set to have 6 cliques in their hood. Now, technically, they don't claim North Hollywood, even though this is pretty much North Hollywood. They don't claim it due to beefing with pretty much everything in North Hollywood. And most recently, man, we did see a 29-year-old man get killed over here on Agnes and Hart Street. Like I said, Hart Street, Agnes, Hart Street, Ben, Hart Street, Gentry, Hart Street, Radford, extremely active area, man. And that brings us to the next hood that they beefing with over here, Crazy Mexican Clan, for that says CMK.
There you go. Nigga.
Now, Southside CMK was really a tagging crew. It started off as such in the 90s before turning into a full-fledged Sureño hood after refusing to become a clique under Radford Street in the early 2000s. They've since taken over all the territory east of Radford Street, and you know they beefing with Radford over that street right there, especially with Radford Street being RST's namesake. They not finna just get that up to CMK. But these dudes also gonna be beefing with MS-13 and 18th Street on Hart Street, right along with Radford Street, because the thing is, both of them hoods is trying to expand over here. And they also gonna be beefing with Pico Nuevo, a hood that's not one of the most active, but definitely a hood that can get cracking, and somebody whose name definitely rings bells in all the cities that they in, man. And the North Hollywood boys is not gonna be far from here as well. That's another hood that has kind of like 3 different sections that they operate in, who's also over here beefing with CMK and Radford Street, as well as 18th Street. Now, in this area, man, it's been multiple shootings of alleged CMK members trying to blast it at Radford Street and move west past Radford Street and really gain that territory. One of the most notable things CMK's name has kind of floated around in was a triple murder of some suspected Radford Street members that happened kind of far from their hood down Lakersham and Moore Park. Now, like I said, it was suspected 3 Radford Street members, all 3 hit and took out, and CMK and the North Hollywood boys have been names that have circulated to have their hands tied up in them murders, man. So we know, man, this is an area that's definitely trying to get cracking, as we seen like them young dudes was saying in Rodney interview, man. Now, it was said during COVID, Radford Street had pretty much sold up Hart Street, but after COVID, CMK kind of ran them out of them apartments on Hart Street, and due to that happening, it's been said that them dudes almost shot up some kids just because Radford Street was over there at them apartments. Like I said, CMK is full of some young hotheads right now, and let Radford Street tell it. They just lost and don't know their history, but CMK not hearing none of that, man. They trying to score and still stay on their shit, you know what I'm saying? Now, like I said, with Van Noyen being an active street, Van Noyen is a boundary, the southern boundary of CMK hood. They going from Bowes to Van Noyen, north to south, and Radford Street to Lancashire, east to west. But just down Van Noyen, we got a hood whose apartment complex landlord was sued by the city because their area and this gang is way too active over here. We got Southside North Hollywood Locos 13.
I'm announcing today that our office is filing a lawsuit against the owner and operator of a 116-unit property on Van Noyen. We allege it's a stronghold for a gang, for the North Hollywood Locos, who's been allegedly terrorizing that neighborhood.
Now, that's crazy, man, for the landlord of your apartment complex to be sued because your gang is getting that active over here. That's where it's at in them Van Noyen Garden Apartments off Van Noyen. Between Ethel and Atal, Welby Way, it's cracking over here, and it's a full-fledged gang war between North Hollywood Locos holding down this apartment and MS-13 trying to take this apartment from them. Now, this is a large housing complex, man. This is probably one of the most dangerous areas to be in this North Hollywood, Van Nuys area.
There's a lot of gunshots over here.
A resident of this North Hollywood apartment complex on Van Noyen Street declined to give her name, but described what it's been like to live here for 4 years.
I think it's probably maybe gang members because they're always tagging in the back. And there was a shooting right in this building about 2 weeks ago where the gunshots were so close and it was...
reason being is because MS-13 Fulton Locos clique used to control these apartments. But North Hollywood Locos, man, picked them dudes up and moved them right across Van Nuys and south of Fulton and made this their stronghold. They was also said to have had a set over by Clanton between Burbank Boulevard and Magnolia Boulevard. They Cleon Street clique like I was talking about earlier. But that area is very gentrified. So for the most part, man, you can just imagine all them dudes that was from Cleon Street have came over and started to put their work in at these Van Nuys Garden apartments. And man, you know you got a tall task on your hands when you're going against hoods like MS-13, West Set Avenue Gangsters, Clanton, Lennox, Alley Locos, and the Violent Boys, man. Now this NHLS side, this is the Projects clique. That's gonna be the main set that's running things in these buildings over here. And there's countless shootings that be happening on this street, man. But the thing is, James Madison Middle School is right across the street on Ethel and Van Nuys. And this is what the city is kind of in an uproar about, because it's cracking with these middle schoolers right here. And this is fertile grounds for some heavy recruitment. We all know it really jump off the porch in middle school. These dudes are looking to recruit. You got MS-13 and the Hollywood Locos right here, just pretty much waiting for these dudes to push a line coming out of middle school. And this is what the city doesn't want. This is why they trying to push these dudes up out of here. But they got a strong grip on it, man. I don't know if it'll work anytime soon. They going down from Van Nuys to Hamlin Street, pretty much to Victory Boulevard. And they border east to west is going to be the river all the way to Coldwater Canyon Avenue. So everything in between that, man, is going to be all them. But for the most part, them Van Nuys Gardens, man, and Welby Way, it's going to be extremely active. It's some nice houses when you get kind of deep in their hood, but that front end of their hood, man, is nothing to play with. That whole little loop that's going from Atoll, Welby to Ethel. That's all you got to know, man. You got to stay out this area. Technically, this would be called Valley Glen. It's not North Hollywood or Van Nuys, it's Valley Glen area. This is where it's cracking at with these dudes. Now, it's said in this whole area, man, you got about 500 to 700 gang members in these concentrated blocks over here. So you can just imagine how much is going up and why they call this the deadliest gang-controlled apartments in the city. And on top of that, just across Coldwater Canyon, they also gonna be beefing with Witset, which also means they beefing with all them 3-pack gangster Crips. So the North Hollywood Locos has definitely made a name for themselves as one of the most deadly gangs in the 818. But next up on the list, we got the hood that's trying to take North Hollywood Locos out their spot. You got Northside Mara Salvatrucha 13 in Valley Glen.
Los Angeles police say they arrested 3 members of MS-13 in early morning raids this week at 10 locations throughout the San Fernando Valley.
It is a murder mystery for the LAPD. Who murdered the man in the red rental car and why? It happened at 3:30 this morning on Fulton Avenue in North Hollywood.
24 people linked to the notorious MS-13 street gang now behind bars. Prosecutors say that they are brutal killers who use knives, machetes, even baseball bats in a series of gruesome murders.
Now, like I said, that Fulton Locos clique at MS-13, they was running things in that Van Nuys Garden Apartments. But right now they've been pushed south of Fulton. But if you know anything like these dudes, they very similar to how they operate to 18th Street. And the thing is, MS-13 and 18 are gonna be transnational, transcontinental hoods, where these dudes is on different continents and different nations. These dudes is not playing. So you know how they operate, man. When they get out somewhere, they looking to expand and conquer this shit and really get their hands dirty. And that's what they doing over here with this Fulton Locos clique, man. Now, they've always known to have Salvadorians. They got Guatemalans, Hondurans, pretty much like the rest of the MS-13 cliques. But they really gonna be over here in this Valley Plaza Sports Complex. Now, they got 2 sides to this section. The one across from Van Nuys Gardens, bordering Van Nuys all the way up to Sherman Way, and then east to west bordering the river to Ethel Avenue. But they main and their largest section is gonna be underneath Van Nuys, starting at Fulton Avenue all the way down to Oxnard Street. And Fulton Avenue is how they gonna have that Fulton Avenue's clique, they main street running through the middle of their hood. Now, just like the usual MS-13, we done seen federal prosecutors really try to come down on this side of MS-13, charging 9 of these dudes with 4 gang murders. Earlier this month, an indictment was just unsealed where a total of 31 of these dudes have went down in a decades-long investigation that included 11 bodies. Now, the feds first started filing this in like 2019 with their main focus on the Fulton Avenue clique out here in this Valley Glen, Van Nuys area. But Fulton Ave is also going to operate as far north as Panorama City, Van Nuys, and North Hollywood, man. They all around the valley looking to get popping and taking their enemies out, as you can see. Now, the key thing that they trying to say about this Fulton Avenue clique is that these dudes got extremely gruesome with requiring their members to have a for show documented dead body under their name before they was fully indoctrinated into the set over here in Valley Glen. So that lets you know, man, they training dudes to make sure they get these bodies under their belt. So when they get into it with their enemies, like the North Hollywood Locos, 18th Street, Alley Locos, Armenian Power, Lennox 13, Barrio Van Nuys, any enemies they running into, man, they want them dudes to be well trained at knocking shit down in these streets in the valley. And like I said, these dudes is also down Van Noen beefing with CMK and Radford Street. Nothing new. They want all the beef because they're looking to control all the territory. Now, recently we saw some non-affiliates that had a rental car that was rolling through their hood, man, presumably coming from Van Noen Street, that North Hollywood Loco section, and driving down Fulton. Man, they shot one of these dudes in the face in the car, a non-affiliate. In the middle of the war, they not playing. So this is why I say Van Noen could be one of the deadliest streets in the valley. You cannot be sliding down here just looking around for houses and shit, especially if you're looking like somebody that could be involved in some street activity. This dude got hit up for no reason, just driving. Now, they was also said to have a click on Sepulveda, which isn't too far from here, south of Langdon Street and kind of northwest of Blythe Street, but they allegedly died out, and this gonna be their most active set in the valley. But nonetheless, man, it's no surprise that these dudes is gonna have a spot on damn near every deadly gang list in the area that they occupy. Now, the next hood we heading to is just west of this MS-13 area, where everything is popping out with North Hollywood Locos and MS. We got Barrio Van Nuys 13.
Investigators say they're now looking into witness reports that suspects in ski masks took off after two men were shot outside this home near Wyandotte and Sepulveda.
Now, BVN is going to be another one of them hoods that I was saying is pretty much in the top 5 argument for a hood that controls the most territory in the San Fernando Valley. And it's also going to hold the crown for being one of the oldest hoods out here as well, and definitely a hood that Sanford recognizes as an original set of the San Fernando Valley. Now, some claims are saying this hood been around since the 1940s, and they main clique, Delano Street, has been around since about 1975, probably before then, but that's going to be a extremely active street, as well as Delano Park in this Barrio Van Nuys set. But it was said that they originally started as a Pachuco club and claimed to have participated in the Zoot Suit riots. Now, that's some real old school shit, so you already know these dudes have been around for a long time with them Zoot Suits, man. Now, they divided into two sides, a north side and a south side, but are mainly in the south side, south of Victory on Delano Street. But again, extremely large hood. They going from Burbank Boulevard all the way up to Sherman Way, and they gonna border the 405 to the west, going all the way to Woodman Avenue to the east. These dudes control a lot of area, man, blocks on top of blocks. And when you control that much area, you have hoods like MS-13 and Lennox. These dudes are right next to this Barrio Van Nuys area. A lot of these hoods, especially hoods that's coming from LA, they looking to find pockets to operate in. So when you have this much territory, you know, at some point, you're gonna have so much to where you can't control it all. And this is how you get MS-13 and Lennox bordering you on Woodman Avenue. They've lost territory to them dudes. And this is what really fuels the fire to have a full-fledged gang war, especially when you got the dope game involved, especially when you got a hot-ass dope block that's really bringing your hood in a lot of money. Dudes go and sniff that out. No, it's a cracking block. Let's set up right here. And this is what's going on in the valley, man. This is why these LA hoods is out here putting it down with these 818 gangs. Now, over the years, they've known they've lost territory to hoods like Van Noen Street, the Haskells, which are west of the 405, Valerio Street, just some other small little hoods. But Barrio Van Nuys is going to be a juggernaut set in this section, while a couple of them other hoods are kind of dying out. Now, they've known to be a very united and disciplined set, and that's the only way you can be and still have this much territory, especially with MS-13 pressing a line and who they beefing with right across Woodman. Now, their main rival for the most part, man, aside from MS-13, is gonna be Blythe Street in Panorama City. We're gonna speak on the history between Blythe Street and Barrio Van Nuys in the next video when we talk about Blythe Street. but them and Barrio Van Nuys is beefing it all the way from Barrio Van Nuys hood down from Burbank all the way up to Panorama City and Parthenia Street. They not caring about whoever's in between. They know they got to get to each other down Sepulveda Boulevard and Kester Avenue. Now, Barrio Van Nuys is known to wear the NY hats, and that's for people that just want to know how to move around if they find themselves in these hoods. But aside from Blythe Street and MS-13, they also going to be beefing with Tijuana Locos, a hood that's not really there either. Tijuana Locos mainly in the Satacoy Gardens and Emerald Point Apartments. They kind of been having a resurgence, but it's mostly just some tagging. They right underneath Blythe Street, but Barrio Van Nuys is looking to whack these dudes out all down Satacoy Street. And like we said earlier in the video, they also going to be beefing with the 3-pack. Since they beefing with Set Avenue Gangsters, they going to beef with OVG and Dead End Gangsta Crip as well. And this section, man, is responsible for countless amount of shootings and crime. Every time you see some shit that say Van Nuys on it, it more than likely didn't happen in Barrio Van Nuys hood. But another reason why this set is so large is because of the membership, and you could tell by the cliques. Like I said, the North Side and South Side clique, Delano Street, Dukes, Cyclones, Jokers, Poor Boys, Tiny Locos, Traviesos, and the Locos. They used to beef with a tagging crew named Wicked Pot Smokers. Now, there's a hood that used to be over here called Southside Wicked Players. I don't know if Wicked Pot Smokers and Wicked Players was kind of one of the same, but Wicked Players did occupy a section within Barrio Van Nuys' hood. They were surrounded by them dudes. But Wicked Pot Smokers was a tagging crew, and it really kicked off between them and Barrio Van Nuys when a dude named Grinch was killed by Wise and Junior, or Bad Boy, who was the head of Wicked Pot Smokers at the time, and that really started a gang war with a tagging crew. Now, they also been known to be cool with Vadio Sanfur. Like I said, sometimes in different parts of the city, it's hard to find Hispanic Vadios getting along with each other. Usually they be at dude's throat, but it's interesting to see Van Nuys and Sanfur get together, especially for that baseball game they got together on. You know, two big hoods like that to really be coexisting says a lot about where they trying to go. Now, a crazy murder that happened over here, man, off Oxnard and Ranchito at those apartments right there on Oxnard, man. We seen an LAPD employee kill his wife and his 13-year-old teenage son not too long ago. That was just some crazy, devastating news we came across when we was doing research on Barrio Van Nuys, man. It's just a lot that be going on in this area, in this hood. And we also recently seen a woman that just got stabbed off Sepulveda as well. But some more enemies of these dudes, not only are they beefing with MS-13, but they beefing with MS-13's enemies in North Hollywood Locos. They beefing with the North Hollywood boys, which means they're going to be beefing with Clanton. Next to Blythe Street, you got Columbus Street. They beefing with Columbus Street. They beefing with Langdon Street, which is next to Columbus Street. Beefing with Lenox, Radford Street, the Bad Boys, and Haskell Street on the west side of the 405, as well as Logan Heights. We're going to speak on Haskell Street, Logan Heights, and the Bad Boys when we get west of the 405 in the third part of this series. But nonetheless, man, Barrio Van Nuys is a hood that really be putting it down and getting active as one of the oldest sets in the valley. Now, the next hood we gonna get to is going back across the 170, man. The hood that we told y'all was real tight-knit with Clanton 14. We got Southside North Hollywood boys, 13, NHBZ.
My name is Gil. I'm from North Hollywood. They used to call me Stranger from North Hollywood boys, man. North Hollywood, for anybody here in the city of LA, it's on the 170 between the 101 and the 5. For people who are out of town, it's the Circus Liquor, man. You see that in all kind of movies, that famous Circus Liquor or the North Hollywood shooting.
Now, a lot of times you be in the valley, man, you'll see a lot of NHBZ and NHLS. Those are two different hoods, but they hit up very similar to North Hollywood Locos. And of course, they hoods, they damn near overlap each other based on how everybody be hitting up in the valley. But North Hollywood boys, man, they got a few different sections over here. They first and most cracking area is going to be over here tucked in between 18th Street and Clanton 14. North to south, going from Victory Boulevard to Burbank Boulevard and Tujunga Avenue to Vineland Avenue, going west to east. But they also got a little extended pocket between Oxnard and Irwin. They fighting for that territory against 18th Street. So I'm going to say that's kind of unclaimed right now. And then they do have a section between Van Noy Street and Victory Boulevard, bordering the 170 freeway in Laurel Canyon. But nonetheless, man, they main clique is going to be the Tierra Street Locos. And you can tell by how spread out they are and how they still have territory in a couple different spots. They hood used to be a lot larger, but they lost territory due to gentrification, and hoods like 18th Street and Pico Nuevo, Vineland boys coming to press a line in this North Hollywood area. Now, they also had some internal conflict not too long ago where one member had killed another over just a petty ass dispute, man. And you know, sometimes we see that in a lot of different hoods, pretty much most hoods, man. It's gonna be some internal disputes, not always to the point where you finna kill the homie. So we seen that over here. I don't know how much that really divided they hood, if it's still divided. But like I said, man, it's always good to have some allies around here. And that is what they have across Violent Ave with Clontone 14, a very established and active set that can help you keep your hood together, if you know what I'm saying. Not saying they need that, but Clontone is very seasoned at running multiple sets. Now, the Tierra Street clique is really going to be active around Tierra and Sahunga. But really, man, you can find these dudes all through this whole North Hollywood area. They stay hidden up everywhere, whether it's they hood, Clontone hood, or this 18th Street hood. These dudes be looking to spread around. But not only are they beefing with 18th Street, they beefing with the violent boys. They beefing with the neighborhood felons who really not there anymore. I'm gonna keep it real, down by Burbank Boulevard. But that was a beef at one point. And they also beefing with the North Hollywood Locos. And some lesser beefs that they'll have is with Barrio Van Nuys, Alley Locos, MS-13, Pico Nuevo, Radford Street, and Westside Avenue, man. So this is a set that still is putting it down in the valley. I'm gonna keep it real. And sadly, man, we did see a 14-year-old girl get killed over here. Rest in peace to her. Along with a 24-year-old man killed right over here on Victory and Agnes, which is the border of they hood and 18th Street hood. So like I said, these dudes is fighting for territory right over in this area, man. And sadly, 2 people lost their life, a child and a man that she was with. We can't say exactly the details about what hood is responsible for it, but it's very cracking in this area. And honestly, not only does this border 18th Street hood, but it also borders the Violent Boys and Pico Nuevo to a lesser extent. Now, yet another hood that's out here going back west past the 170, man, another hood that came from LA, really that Lenox area by Inglewood, and a hood that's kind of also known to be racial, man. I'm gonna keep it real, but they put it down and they well respected in a section. We got Northside Lenox 13 in Valley Glen.
Chasing the check, ain't nobody had my back when a nigga was dead broke, and that's why we ain't talking, just run me the neck, ho.
Look, I'm bald-headed, so you know a nigga gang bang is gangland. 10-4 street until my brains hang. Niggas catch me slipping, better kill me, I'm a double back. Niggas trying to miss the hood trophy, how you fumble that?
Now, these dudes never really were known to operate in a large area in the valley. Some say they're not even really there no more, man. But we did see some presence on Kit Ridge and Woodman, man. And it's said that they have territory that goes from Woodman all the way down to Fulton between Van Noen and Kit Ridge. But really, they're going to be operating in them apartments off Woodman right behind Kit Ridge Street Elementary School, man. But the thing is, with these LA hoods, man, that come to different areas, they try to keep the same reputation. And what we know about Lenox's reputation from deeper in LA, man, is a nasty one. They got a crazy, aggressive, hardcore reputation for some real gangbanging, and they've tried to keep that same reputation by beefing with MS-13 right across Kid Ridge and having a hood tucked up against MS-13 main clique off Fulton Avenue. Now, they've also known to beef with Barrio Van Nuys, like we said, right across Woodman, beefing with the Tokers, Van Noen Street Locos, and the North Hollywood Locos. So they involved in some high-profile beef with some sets that's really putting it down, and with that gunplay in this section. But we know that's what Lenox is about too. Now, you know, this is the same hood, not this Valley hood. J10-4, he's from the Lenox section in that South Bay area, but this is the same hood that J10-4 is from. That dude that was seen whooping on that female, man, that put her in a bad spot.
Alone in them cold nights, hitter got the chopper, spooky got the 40 beans. Bitch, you tryna play ball, make you recruit a new team. I was down foot to use my trigger finger, really itching. Cut him lacking over there, I hopped out and got the business. I was sliding in the stolo, tryna put one on the news. You were internet gangster, you ain't never.
This is the same Lenox hood. And overall, the Lenox name is gonna go back to the 60s, where they first set up shop in that Lenox area. And that's, of course, gonna be their most active set, where they got 600 to 700 members over there. But this Lenox over here too, they are known to ring some bells, man. Even though they are kind of dying down, it's still cracking over here, especially on Van Noen and Woodman and Kid Ridge and Woodman. Now, the last set that we're gonna cover over here is yet another set that didn't originate in the Valley. A set from Pico Rivera. We got Northside Pico Nuevo 13.
One help me cause I'm lost, running away from these cops. There ain't no future on the block and gang banging won't stop. So grab your shotgun, homie, and be ready to back and represent the Southeast body of people and rap gang. One help me I'm lost, running away from these cops. There ain't no future on the block and gang banging will stop. So grab your shotgun, homie, and be ready to back and represent the Southeast body of people who ramp with gang.
Now again, the hood in Pico Rivera definitely rings way more bells than this hood over here in this North Hollywood area. But Pico Nuevo is still not to be taken for a joke, no matter what set you're talking about, because just like Clanton, membership is the same, where you'll see North Hollywood PNs go down to Pico Rivera, and Pico Rivera PNs come up here to North Hollywood to function, and that's all it takes to really crack off. It don't matter which one it is. But these dudes, they don't control a lot of territory in this area, and honestly, they've been getting pushed back by 18th Street. And 18th Street, that Friar Locos clique is gonna be their main rival out in this San Fernando Valley for them. And really, they beefing over the area around Victory and Lancashire. It was said they recently got control of some apartments that used to be occupied by Radford Street west of Lancashire, but 18th Street also got some apartments on Victory and Lancashire as well that they looking to keep hold of. So again, this area is extremely cracking still. And not only do they beefing with 18, they beefing with CMK, the Violent Boys, North Hollywood Locos, North Hollywood Boys, and Clanton 14, man. And in 2022, we seen 7 members of PN was charged for the narcotics and the weapons by the feds, man. And they ended up coming with 22 sticks off that investigation as well, man. So some of their members ended up going down behind that, but they also still active on Archwood Street. I'm gonna keep it real with you. But this is what's cracking right here in this San Fernando Valley in this 818. Again, this was North Hollywood, Van Nuys, Valley Glen, Sun Valley. You can already see, man, it's extremely popping, and we just getting started, man. Y'all stay locked in with us. Stay tuned in. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe. Rock with the channel. Y'all make sure y'all hit our sponsor Aura up as well, man, and get that 14-day free trial. Rap News Street Politics, we out of here.